Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody has had a really good day. This is kind of last minute, but I have to get my nails done, or I don't have to. I would like to have my nails done for my trip. So that's what I'm going to do. I knew I was going to do them at some point today, and I put out some polls to see if it's something that you guys just wanted to sit back and just chat about whatever while I do my nails. And I mean, some people aren't interested, and I totally get that, but some were. So that's what I'm going to do today or this evening. Yeah, so I haven't done anything. I don't know if I should zoom in more or not. You guys let me know, but my natural nails are really rough. I was trying to go as long as I could without putting a new set on, but like I said, I would like to have them done. So I'm going to go ahead and, against better judgment, do them. I'm going to do very light prep work of my natural nails. I usually do like pretty solid prep work, but if they pop off, I'm not too worried about it. I honestly don't think they will. Usually when I do my nails, even if I don't do good prep work, they last for at least 2 weeks. And when it gets to the end, I usually am the one who is going in and prying them off. So I know it's probably not the most entertaining to see my hands, but if you guys saw me, you would see how rough I look. It has been a busy day for me. We can chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. If you want to know what I'm doing or what products I'm using, just let me know and I'll talk about them. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of do my nails and chat about whatever you guys want to chat about or whatever comes to mind. This is the first step for me every time. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I am just pushing back my cuticles with some cuticle remover. So I have not been online hardly at all today, just here and there. I'm a huge procrastinator. I don't know how much I've really talked about that part of my personality on here. I'm a massive procrastinator, so I didn't start like getting ready for this trip until today. So a little bit yesterday, but primarily today. And I've mentioned a few times, I am not an anxious person. I don't really get anxious or have anxiety very often, but when it comes to flying by myself, I do get anxiety, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm hoping that this live stream just kind of resets my nerves. I know everything will be fine. And I'm not anxious in the sense of like being afraid of flying or something bad happening. I'm anxious in the sense of I'm afraid I'm going to miss my flight or somehow get on the wrong flight. That's where my anxiety comes from. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys updated. But what all has been going on with you guys? Seems to be there's some stuff going on everywhere on YouTube from what I did see over the past couple of days. Hey, Susan. You get anxious when you fly no matter what? Yeah. Once I'm on the plane, once I'm on the plane and I know I'm on the right plane, I will be fine. It's a matter of getting through TSA and getting to the right gate. And then when I have my layover, it's anxiety about making sure I get to the terminal in time. And again, making sure I get on the right flight. And I mean, I know they double check to make sure you don't get on incorrect flights, but it's not unheard of. And if you end up waiting at the wrong spot, you may end up missing your flight, and that's the kind of stuff I get anxious about. The good thing is my second flight and where my layover is, my mom and I are actually somehow it worked out for us to get on the same flight for our final flight. So, and there's only one layover. So that'll ease my nerves a little bit. It's just a matter of getting to my first flight, my first terminal fine, which I'm sure will be fine. Hey, Sally. No, I'm not on vacation yet. I will be soon. I actually leave in a couple of hours to go to the airport. So, not a couple, but within the next 5 hours, I'll be leaving to go to the airport. So it's going to be a long day. I made sure to get good sleep last night. This is not what I'd advise people to do, but I'm actually not going to go to sleep tonight. I am just going to stay up and hope for the best. I figure I can sleep on the flight if I need to. Each of the flights that I have are not super long. They're 3 or 4 hours. So it's enough that if I'm overly tired, I can take a nap. So any tips on strengthening your nails? I mean, the best thing that I know people do, and this is what's weird about my particular nails, is they grow fine, but they're just always a little bit on the thin side, which is partly why I prefer to have nail extensions or nails on, because I can't grow out my natural nails. Anytime I try, they break off. They just split. They end up catching. So I don't even try to grow out my natural nails anymore. You can do things like taking vitamins for strengthening your nails. You can also buy different kinds of nail strengthening nail polishes. I know Britt talks about one that she uses, and I don't know the name of it because I don't use that kind of product. But there's plenty of things out there on the market. I don't know how much they actually help. But you can always, do some research and figure out what'll work best for you. So, yeah, I'm going to have a great time. I'm really excited. It probably doesn't sound like I am, but that's just because I still have quite a bit to do. I'm not 100% done packing, so I still have some packing I have to do. And just making sure I'm not forgetting anything. I'm sure I'm notorious, and this is the longest trip I've gone on in a very, very long time. I think the last time I was on a trip this long was, again, when I had gone to my sister's a few years ago. I'm not somebody who takes a lot of vacations. I've just kind of always been like that. Even when I've worked, I've never been somebody to really take PTO and go on trips. Not that there's anything against it. It's actually better for your mental health and burnout rate to make sure that you do take time away from your place of employment. I've just never been one to do that. So I don't do a lot of vacationing. And a lot of that, I think, before was because I was so close to my parents. I didn't feel I needed to go anywhere. And now that I'm further away from everybody, the only way to see people and my family is what I mean by people. I have to go on vacation for that. So, and we may do a few live streams. It just depends on how our days go. My sister is a very busybody person. She's not a homebody. She likes to go out and do stuff every day. So I know that there's going to be a lot of activities So I really don't know what my days are going to be like. So we'll see. But I will definitely make sure I at least do 1 or 2 lives. And I don't know if that will include anybody, like if that's going to include my mom. I don't know how my sister feels. I don't know if she is particularly interested in being on the channel. So, but you guys know, if you were here for when my mom was on, she thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a very fun, interesting thing for her to experience. So I was going to bring all my filming stuff. I've decided not to, though. So if we do go live or anything, it's just going to be from my phone, which there's nothing wrong with that. I prefer to not live stream from my phone because if I get phone calls or anything like that, it kicks the live stream, but I can just ensure that people know not to call me during that time. So what are you guys up to? Like, do you guys have any trips planned? Are you guys going to be doing anything? Is there anything that has been going on YouTube that you guys have seen and want to chat about? Probably seems like I'm being a little rough with my nails. I'm really not. These bits are diamond bits, so they're not rough. And they're just taking back my cuticles, the dead skin. They're kicking that off. This other bit that I used is just like a nail file. So it was to scuff up my natural nail for the extensions. So taking some rubbing alcohol just to get rid of all of that dust before we move on to the next part. Yes, I did go to the event I was talking about. I had 2 events last week I had to do for my husband. They weren't like fancy events, but they were events nonetheless, so that happened. No trips this year. You're getting a heat pump for your AC. You've talked about that before. Hopefully you can get all of that situated. So this next part, what I do is I pick out the nail tips. I kind of know for the most part which ones are going to fit my nails and which ones aren't. But I pick them out. A few of them I have to file the sides down a little bit because my nail beds are a little too small and the next size is just too big. You used to get your nails done. You know, I really don't have a lot of patience, and doing these kinds of nails really doesn't take a lot of time, and it really doesn't take too much patience either, because when I'm not doing them on a live stream, the few times I have done my nails on a live stream, it takes like double the time. When I'm not doing it on a live, I can get my nails done in about an hour. The longest part, it's not even putting the nails on for me that's the longest part. It's painting my nails that takes me so long. But I also used to go get my nails done, and then I started watching a few different nail channels here on YouTube, and it inspired me to try. I started off trying the polygel nails, which I still have everything for the polygel nails. I just really struggle when it comes to using that product. And the TikTok ads and even some YouTube ads that you see where people squirt the polygel on their nail and put the nail on and it turn out perfect. It does not work that way. Not for me anyways. The dual forms that I have, I'm not a fan of the shape. And polygel for me is something that I've had to, it takes more work doing polygel for me versus doing these kind of nails, which essentially are press-ons. I mean, these are soft gel tips. They're full cover soft gel tips. So you're just adhering pretty much like a gel nail. Like they are bendable, but they're sturdy. And these ones are these that I'm using now are pre-etched on the inside, so you don't have to go in. You can buy some soft gel nails off of Amazon that are full cover like this, and they may not be pre-etched, so it's something just where you have to etch the inside to make sure it has something to adhere to. You can also buy some really decent like press-on nails. You can do press-on nails even from like Walmart or the dollar store. As long as you prep your nails well, you're not going to have any issues with them lifting. I mean, they're not going to be as long lasting as acrylics, but they will last a while. So I am not going to worry about my cuticles, like all the mess of my cuticles. I usually don't. I know it takes away from the aesthetic of your nails being done, but frankly, I just don't have the time. And usually when I do try to clean up my cuticles more than what I've already done, I end up clipping myself. I have cuticle cutters. I have cuticle scissors. I've got different forms of like doing your cuticles and cutting up, like getting excessive cuticle stuff off in your hangnails. It never bodes well for me, so I just avoid it. So I do one hand at a time. I think most people do, unless you do your nails regularly. And maybe you have a channel where you pop them off and you don't care if they last. You haven't had nails since March 2020. Yeah, I understand due to those reasons, not having your nails done. Hopefully, now if you want to have them done again, you can. The process seems overwhelming. It's really not. There's a lot of little steps, but it does not take that long. I mean, so nail prep took me like 15 minutes. This part usually takes a little bit longer, but not a whole lot of time. This is getting the nail on. This part is like the most tedious part. While I cure it on my nail, I won't be able to talk. I put this little flashlight in my mouth. So once you have it down, most of it down stuck, then I just kind of give it a little bit more time to make sure the tip is secure. And then once I have all of this hand in, I'll stick it in my big lamp. So I go through that process with every nail. What have you guys been watching on YouTube lately? That's a good question. I have kind of been watching, I watched the majority of Gabby Hanna's series. I kind of dipped out. she frustrates me, I've realized. So I've kind of stopped watching her series, and I watched a couple of creators who have summed up her videos. Like I watched Smoky Glows. I watched Repzion's part 2 on her. I think it was Petty Page who just put out a video that I haven't watched it. These are full cover gel tips, Susan. So they cover your whole nail. And I'm actually going to cut these down. The last few times I've done my nails, I've left them at the length that they are. But I am going to cut them down since I'm going to be playing with kids for the next 10 days. I don't want to have super long nails. So I am going to cut some length off. And I already, before I went live, I was playing with what color of nail polish and what I'm going to do for, like, if I'm going to leave it a solid color or add something to it, and I've figured all that out. I'll show you guys here shortly. You caught up on Xylee series. On Gabby Hanna, has she covered Gabby Hanna, or do you mean her Anna Campbell series? I don't remember her doing a series on Gabby. I think she's mentioned her in live streams, but the last few series that she's done are the Anna Campbell series and Creepshow Art, and in the mix she's kind of talked about other dramas that she's talked about before, like James Charles, and maybe she's made a video or two about Gabby Hanna, but I don't think she's, from what I recall, she hasn't done a series on her. Am I wrong? Did I miss something? Oh, her Anna series. Yeah, her Anna series has been really in-depth and informative. I've watched a ton of Anna Campbell videos, more than I probably would like to admit. I took a break from watching that stuff over the last couple of days. I am going to continue to make the other videos I had planned on it about that, but they're not going to happen until I come back. I thought I was going to be able to get my second video out before I left, but these last couple of days have just been a little far too busy and hectic for me to really sit down and film anything that serious. You're tired of Gabby. A lot of people are tired of Gabby. She's a creator that I just personally do not understand. Like, aside from the series and everything, she's just someone I've never really understood. And she's in my age bracket. I think she's just a year or two, maybe 3 years older than me. She's not that much older than me. And I understand some creators like have their internet persona and their internet personality, but to me, from what I've seen, like, she really tries to portray herself as herself. And there's nothing wrong with that, but she seems to be very, very immature, and she engages in a lot of problematic behavior. Aside from like her scandals, like, she's just problematic, especially with everything going on with her series. I personally feel like her series, in her opinion, was going to be like her redemption arc, that she was going to put these videos out and it was going to change public opinion on her poor behavior. And it's clearly not going that way, because she's used this series and she's promoted this series so much to be something that, in my opinion, it's not. So yeah, when Xylee does her deep dives, they are really, really good. She puts so much time and effort into her research and having all of the receipts, and then providing her opinion and like giving her chat the opportunity to talk. I really appreciate how she does her content on her deep dives. She's a creator that I think the more she continues to create the way she is, she's going to continue to grow, which is awesome, because I mean, she deserves it. I think anybody who puts your time and effort and you grow a platform deserve it. It's once you have that platform, what you do with it. Sorry for the pauses in between, but there's other, eventually I'm going to get a light that you can clip to your desk, and it's a UV light that will cure. I'm eventually going to get one of those, so I don't have to put this thing in my mouth to cure the glue. I've tried using the ones where you can slide your finger in and hold the nail down. I end up always like making the nail crooked. I don't know how other like nail creators who do like nail content, how they are able to use those things so effortlessly, because I struggle so much with that. This is the only method I've found where I can actually get my nails on straight and not like end up with wonky nails. And even occasionally I still end up with a crooked one here or there. You're tired of the never-ending drama, so you're venturing off other creators. You watch true crime. I mean, the thing is, every community has drama. The more that I venture into other communities and watch other creators, and by that I mean like smaller creators, there seems to always be drama amongst content creators. And I think a lot of it honestly boils down to a form of competition, if that makes sense. And to be honest, like and what I mean by competition, like if you're creating similar content and you're within like a few hundred to a couple thousand of another creator and they're making similar content, you're likely to share a similar subscriber base. And it ends up being a competition when drama happens on who's going to lose the most, who's going to gain more, who's going to keep popularity, who's not going to keep popularity, who got done worse wrong, who was treated worse. It becomes a competition in that sense. I don't very much mean a monetary competition. We're the same age as your kids. Yeah. I mean, and I know that. I have quite a few subscribers that have told me I'm old enough, like they're old enough to be my mom. And I think that's kind of cool in a way. To me, it means, for me, what it means when I have older people following me is that I have a mature audience. So I know you guys aren't going to engage in like petty stuff. You're not going to go out and start issues. When you have channels like James Charles, Gabby Hanna, Anna Campbell, some of the most problematic people, David Dobrik, they have young, influential audiences. And that's why there ends up being so many dramas and so many offshoots of drama, because their audience goes out and defends them because they're young and they stand them and they really don't know any different. It's an immaturity thing, and these creators emulate immaturity, in my opinion. You watch It's Crime with Linda. She's good and covers a variety of true crime. I like true crime in the sense of I like true crime TV. I've never really gotten into true crime YouTube, and maybe that's because I haven't really given it a shot. It's kind of interesting as a creator consuming YouTube content. It's like you're either consuming it for your own video or you're consuming it because you enjoy it. You're not fond of creator arguments. You just move on and stop watching. Yeah. I mean, I understand that. And I know a lot of people who watch my channel watch other channels that have been involved in a tit for tat for quite some time. And I understand people being burnt out about it. I definitely do. I understand people not wanting to continue, because I've seen and I've had people tell me specifically that they feel that they have to make a choice. And at times, like, that they have been pitted in chats and like called out by the chat, or even at times the creator, for being somewhere else. Since when did it become a thing on YouTube where creators are monitoring what their subscribers do? Like, you guys are just everyday regular people. Why does it matter where you guys are watching and who you guys are watching and who you support? Why does that matter? Like at the end of the day, they should just be grateful, in my opinion. And I know this is going to come off a little bit rude, but I know that they should be, to me, you should just be grateful that people are watching you. It shouldn't be this thing where because you have beef with someone else and you catch them in someone else's chat that you want to call them out. Like I have questions about that to begin with. Why are you watching someone you don't like's chat? It's like you're intentionally going there, watching it, hoping to see some of your subscribers there to further cause issues. And again, I'm totally against creators like involving and pinpointing their subscribers in their own petty shit. Because although I know in some communities that I've been associated with before that it's gotten serious and it's gotten real life, and I don't want to try to diminish that, but some of the other shit that is inciting all of this is really freaking childish. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do this blue, and it's got sparklies. I don't know if it's going to focus, but I'm going to do an iridescent polish over it just to give it some shimmer. I've never actually worn this nail polish before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the length just a little bit on these. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. I'm cutting about half the length. And then I'll file so it'll kind of go down a little bit more. True crime scares you. You use a blow dryer for your nails because your hands. Oh, I'm sorry that you have to struggle with that. There's so many different ways. Because I use gel polish, I have to have a UV light to dry. Technically, it's curing, but to dry my nails. All right, so we've got some of the length cut down. Now I'm just going to file them. Yeah, I prefer True Crime TV over True Crime YouTube. And to be honest, it's because I've not given any YouTube True Crimes channels much views. I've never really gone looking at that kind of content. I've always consumed like tea, drama, commentary, and beauty. That's the primary content on YouTube that I consume. And it's kind of always been like that. Even before I was a creator, that was the kind of content I consumed. True crime scares you. I get that. Some people really don't like true crime because it's too real. It's one of those things that sometimes not knowing is better. I find it fascinating. And I know people always like question people when they are intrigued by true crime, but I'm not like obsessed or like have any famous murderers or anybody like that I know everything about. I just find the behavior really interesting. And you're burnt out on the Katie drama. I mean, isn't everybody, to be honest, like, isn't everybody burnt out on that? Or am I out of the loop? I feel like for months, people have been saying that they're burnt out on it, but it's like the train wreck that people can't stop watching and engaging with, which, hey, I get it. It's definitely entertaining. However, what's going on currently with all of that stuff is seriously scary. And I don't mean just like what's happening to Katie. I mean what's going on within channels and the community as a whole. The speculation, the conspiracies, like it's all just a little too much. I find it, I don't know. I know people aren't going to like that I make this comment, but I find it kind of interesting and slightly humorous that people online, whether that's creators or people on Twitter or whoever, I think it's kind of funny that they think they're going to be able to solve the case. Can they help solve it and like figure out what's going on? Absolutely. But I do not think anybody online, including Katie herself, really knows everything about what's going on. The people who know everything about what's going on and have all the information are the people who are investigating it and maybe the attorneys. No matter how many receipts or how many people you guys as a community rally together to compare and like see what has what and what corresponds with what, I just find it funny that they think they're going to be able to solve it. And I know that's kind of mean, but and I understand people's argument that the FBI is busy and they may not be taking this extremely seriously. I understand that argument, and I agree with it to some degree. However, they're on the case. Like, it may not be their number one priority, but people online, whether you figure it out or not, it's not going to make any difference. What are you going to do? Call up the FBI and say, hey, I figured it out for you. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't understand that behavior. I don't understand running with conspiracies. I don't understand naming people when you actually don't know. Like, is that not defamation and libel? To be accusing people of, at times, literal crimes and you not even really having the evidence to back it up or having any kind of support other than you have a gut feeling or there's someone who's been critical of you in the past. And I'm sure she is overwhelmed with people reaching out to her. I'm sure she is. And I understand her being defensive and her wanting it to come to an end. I 100% do. But at the same time, as someone who's kind of been watching this from the sidelines at this point, I feel like people are playing into this a little bit. And people are legitimately getting hurt. Like, their feelings are getting seriously hurt. People's reputations are getting hurt based off of random conspiracies or speculation. They're like, oh, well, let's just throw them out to dry because we have this one screenshot that kind of looks shady. Like, I don't understand. What happened to critical thinking, guys? Like, if you're thinking critically, you're not going to just accuse people of shit. I mean, it's common sense, right? I don't know. I'm not fully aware of everything that's going on either, so that could be part of it. All right. So, hey, Blue, how are you? I'm not the best at filing and shaping. So this is like my least favorite part. Once I have them filed down to most of my desired shape, which they're relatively short this time, I buff the ends that I just filed to get all the strays off, and I buff the top so there's a grip for the gel polish. The people on Twitter are so invasive. I mean, it's not just the people on Twitter. I mean, I know where you're talking about, Susan. It seems like people on Twitter, people talk about it more freely on Twitter because there's not as many, like, in my opinion, it's because Twitter doesn't really monitor what's put on that app. I mean, I've seen some pretty raunchy things on Twitter before. So I think people go there because they know it's a safe space to say and throw out whatever you want and really not have any repercussions unless people report it. She's not helping matters. She just can't be quiet. Who's she, Susan? Who are you referring to as she? I don't know if you're referring to Katie herself or if you're referring to a content creator who discusses her. I don't know. From what I've been told by people who still send me stuff, there's been a lot of like live streams and speculations, and it's my understanding another really long live stream happened. And a lot of people were involved. I haven't watched it. Primarily because I really just don't care. I mean, I mean that with the most respect. I'm not trying to be dismissive to anybody who still covers her or wants to still cover her. I don't want to. And I don't want to be involved in all the disgusting behaviors that are happening by a lot of people. You're referring to Katie? Well, I mean, are we surprised? Like, seriously. Is anybody surprised that she is talking about stuff? I only see what's retweeted because I've gotten blocked, which I've been blocked for a while. I'm not going to try to follow her. I've never really tried to follow her except for when I was watching her, like as a subscriber. I got blocked on Instagram. I got blocked everywhere because I was honest with her about my opinion of her, which that's fine. She has that right. I'm not upset about it. Could care less. And I'm not going to go around blocks to see what she's saying because, again, I just don't care. I do see some of it on Twitter. And again, some people send me what's going on or send me parts of things. And the things that I do get sent, my jaw just drops to the floor. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Kay's stream. I haven't watched it. I don't know if I will because I really am not interested. And if it's anything like what's been going on, I can almost guarantee what it's probably like. It's just a whole lot of assuming and accusing and just throwing. And I don't necessarily want to say throwing people under the bus, But what I find interesting is in one breath, Katie is asking for people to send her stuff. And then in the next breath, she's saying things about not getting in her DMs, which I'm not trying to dismiss her. Like, I guarantee people are getting in her DMs, like trying just to get information. But why do you have to tweet that out publicly? Like, why are you bringing more attention to it? That's just what I don't understand. And that's kind of where I've been with everything that's been involving Nat since the very beginning is, why are you sharing all of this stuff publicly? And again, I'm sure there's information and people have their conspiracies about stuff. Hell, I even have my own. I'm just not going to tell them publicly because it's just a speculation. Yeah, I heard Nat got on panel. So was Nat on panel and then Katie, or were they on panel together? I haven't really been able to decipher that part of what people have said. But that's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I just find it weird. It kind of sends mixed messages, doesn't it? Or am I just like the only one who thinks that sends mixed messages? When you're from Katie's perception or perspective, it kind of, in my opinion, sends a mixed message. If Katie's going to go publicly from her platform onto another live stream, which she's welcome to do whatever she wants. I'm not trying to say she can't, but it begs to question for me, like, if Nat was on the stream and she said how scared she is of her and how she's done all of these things, why would she get on a panel that has hosted that person that you are so terrified of? And if you were on it together with that person, it sends mixed messages because you're trying to tell people you're scared of her. Unless that's changed, I don't know if that's changed in this scenario where Katie's not afraid of her. I don't know. That's how like removed from everything I am at this point. Like, I really don't know. That's why I'm just asking questions. I wish I could paint my left hand as quick as I can paint my right hand. Or, I mean, the other way around. So when I go to paint my next hand, it's going to take so much longer. I always do my thumb separate because the times that I've tried to paint my thumb at the same time, I end up getting nail polish everywhere. This is pretty opaque for being such a light color, but I'm still going to go in with at least one more, maybe two more coats just to get full opacity. And then once these are cured and I get this hand painted, I'm going to go in with this like holographic overlay. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything too fancy. You believe it does send mixed messages. She was believing. Well, what was said for her to believe? Hasn't Nat been talking to Katie and she's been talking to Salt? Excuse me. We've known that for a while. So was new information brought forth that Katie was believing, or what do you mean by that? You had the stream going on in the background as you were finishing a few signs. Yeah, to be honest, I would rather just kind of not know. Because the problem is when you do know, sometimes you feel more compelled to talk about things and give your opinions about things, but I don't necessarily think that this is a situation where people should be inserting their opinions because there's an active investigation occurring. I really don't know how I feel about that. And that's not me trying to gatekeep or anything, like do whatever you want, but like personally, I don't know. But I can also see the hypocrisy there because I did participate to some degree and share the DMs that I had. So I guess that's me being hypocritical in a way. But I also feel like things have gotten far more serious since then. And more people are getting involved since then. So it's just making a bigger mess and a bigger puzzle. So this time I went ahead and did all 5 fingers. Clearly I'm not totally thinking. Hopefully I don't bump my thumb into something. We may be able to call it good at 2 coats. You love the color. It's like a periwinkle color. It's like a light blue, but there's also like a tint of purple to it. I wanted to go with like a summery color. You stopped in a couple times in that stream, but you couldn't stand it. Why couldn't you stand it, Sally? She's been talking to Katie. She really feels Nat is easily manipulated by her new people she's blaming. Everyone just I agree. Like, let the authorities do their job. It's one thing, in my opinion, to talk about the actual situation rather than to insert and speculate and go off with conspiracy theories. Like, if you're just going to talk about what's out there and like talk about your opinion on things, that's totally different than further speculating and coming up with conspiracy theories. Those are 2 totally different things. And I don't know if people think that they're just giving their opinion when in actuality they're engaging in speculation. And primarily I'm talking about Katie. I'm not really watching anybody else that's gone on with this stuff. And I really haven't even kept up with it to that most degree. But I do agree with Katie. And I know this is not a popular opinion. I have been told information that I've not shared. I'm not going to share. But I agree with her that she is easily manipulated. Does that mean that she's absolved of some of the awful things she did? No, but you have to take into consideration everything going on. And I know her mental health is not an excuse. And I know people question that. And, that's fine and within everybody's right to do. But if she has everything that she's claimed to have, she is going to be easily manipulated. And that's it. I'm not saying she's dumb. I'm not saying she couldn't participate or help organize this. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is you have to just look at the bigger picture. It is a possibility that I'm not saying she was being ordered to do things, because at some point she had to have some consent to do some of the things that she was doing. So she can't just say, no one can just say that she was 100% manipulated, because at some point, even if someone is telling you, or even if they're threatening you to some degree, you still have the ultimate choice to follow through with it or not. You're still an adult. I know she maybe needs help allegedly, but she also allegedly lives independently, so she can make those choices for herself. She is not absolved of anything, but you do have to, in my opinion, take that into consideration. Nat said she takes the hypocrisy. I mean, yeah, and I haven't watched that stream, but the hypocrisy on what's been going on for literal months has been something that I just cannot deal with. And if you try to acknowledge and talk about the hypocrisy, if you're talking about certain creators or certain actions, you are pretty much fed to the dogs, for lack of a better term. And that's not healthy. And it's still happening. It's become this thing of it's this way or the highway, which I mean, build your community how you want to build your community, but you are, in my opinion, you are oh my gosh, I can't talk. You are shooting yourself in the foot for long term, because anybody new who comes to your channel may go back and watch your old stuff, or if you ever try to change your content or anything like that, and people go back and see that kind of behavior and stuff, people may not subscribe. You also run the risk of people not thinking you're worth the risk of collaborating with. I mean, think about it. Your channel continues to grow, right? You continue, and maybe you branch off and you do other content and you're doing really well. And you build a pretty sizable platform and someone else wants to collab with you. But most creators are going to look at your history on the platform before they're going to collab, because they want to make sure that they're not platforming someone who they don't agree with. And so they go back and they look at your old content and they see that you were involved in this back and forth for months with all of these other creators. That's going to be a red flag. That is going to be a red flag. Is it maybe going to make it to where you don't end up having that collab? Potentially. I mean, why would you want to continue in engaging? It's one thing to respond, and it's another thing to actively participate in what's going on, if that makes sense. Nat's taken full responsibility for months, though, hasn't she? Didn't she, if I recall correctly, didn't Nat take full responsibility like when shortly after I did my live stream of the screenshots that I had received? Isn't that when she emailed Katie and she emailed the law enforcement that she had made the report to, and she took responsibility then? So it's not a new thing that she's like taking responsibility for her part, which, I mean, that's it's kind of commendable in a way. I'm not like singing her praises or anything, but it takes a lot for someone to just come out and be like, yeah, you know, I engaged in these shitty things and I know I deserve whatever I get. But then if you're going to conspiracy theory here, if she's being manipulated and she wasn't the one who was involved in all of this, how do you know that maybe she's not being manipulated into saying all of that? You see what I'm saying? Like, those are the aspects that people don't seem to want to talk about. They want to believe what they want to believe because it fits what they want it to fit. And I mean, that was the same thing with the lawsuit with Katie and the Westbrooks. people were all gassing up Salts and Emily and all of these people who were reporting on it. But the second it didn't go the way that they had anticipated, it's all of a sudden Salts isn't credible. He's lying, and it's just like because you didn't get the result you wanted, now integrity and credibility are all into question because the outcome wasn't what you had expected. Don't take this the wrong way, but when you say you know things but can't share them, it frustrates me. And I mean, I understand that, but I've not shared them with anybody, and it's because it was a conversation I had with someone, and it was a private conversation, so it's not my place to share. And it wasn't anybody, it was with Salts, and I'm not going to share that because it really doesn't provide any more context. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who knows this information either, because I don't know why I would be told and other people wouldn't be. Especially because my communications with Salts was very short and limited. All right, so now I'm just painting on the holographic nail polish. And we'll see how this first layer turns out. I may not even go in with a second layer. To get full opacity with these, the brand suggests doing 5 layers. I don't have the time for that. I just want a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of sparkle. Which, I mean, this one layer is kind of giving that. So I may go in with one more. I may not. We'll see. Hey, Cheryl, how are you doing? Are you just waking up? No, and I get that, Sally. I do. I felt the same way about people saying that. So I definitely understand that. But that's also another key part, in my opinion, is if I know some things that have been told to me and other people are talking to people, like I'm sure everybody has their own bit of information that they're not sharing. And it's within whoever's right to share and not share. So, and even if everybody shared everything that they knew, we're still not going to be able to have any impact on the investigation. The authorities are going to come to their own answers. People sleuthing and coming to their own conclusions and speculating and having these conspiracy theories. I mean, that's just what it is. I really don't think anyone is going to, and I don't mean that in a way to insult anybody. I just genuinely don't believe anyone is going to be able to come to what's going on. There's aspects that I don't think everybody is thinking about or wanting to think about because it doesn't really fit what they think. Oops. You want everybody to feel safe again? I mean, I wish that could happen, and hopefully it can. Hopefully in time it can. With everything that's gone on, I just hope that this has helped people who maybe weren't being 100% safe with themselves are now imploring certain things to make sure that they're safe. Having two-factor authentication on, if you don't want people to know your legal name, not having that as your username, even if you trust somebody, being very limited on what personal information you're going to give, because you never know. You never know what somebody's going to do. I mean, you could be friends with somebody and share all of this information with them, and then you have a falling out and you never expect that this person would do something super vile, and then that fallout happens and your information's leaked or something like that. It sucks, but it's part of having an online presence. Whether you're just a viewer or you're a creator, you still have to put your safety first. Just be mindful what you share and who you share it with. So I only went in with the one layer. Now I am going over with my top coat, which I'm using a thicker top coat. I usually use the other one that's not as thick, but I don't know what all activities we'll be doing, so I don't want to end up, and I'm not bringing any of this stuff, so I don't want to chip my nail polish. Gosh. I still have quite a bit of packing to do. I just checked the time. It's 6:10. It is almost 10:15 here. I have a very full day of travel tomorrow. Right. How long will it stay on? How long will what stay on? Oh no, I'm getting tired. I'm probably going to have to drink some coffee because I'm not going to sleep. If I go to sleep, tomorrow's going to be a really bad day. The polish, I mean, I've used the Macarte gel polish before, but it's been a while. With the other nail polishes that I use that are gel polish, they hardly ever chip. What ends up chipping and scratching is your top coat. And the top coat that I usually use is pretty good, but this one is like the same thing, but thicker. It's a little bit more, even the brand says like it's the same thing, but it's just a little bit more durable. So the nail polish will probably stay on the whole time that the nails do. I haven't had too many issues with nail polish. I have had like scratches in the surface of my top coat before. Yes, my destination is unknown. It is. Not that I think it would matter if you guys knew where I was going. I haven't shared. And I don't know if I will. We'll see. Because I'm going to, well, I don't know if they'll go public. I'm going to do a little bit of vlogging, but my vlogs are primarily for members content, so we'll see. I might publish some of them for public viewing. Trying to think if I've said what state my sister lives in before. I don't know if I have. Let me put it this way. I'm going completely across the US, pretty much. So it is a long day. I have to drive just to get to the airport that I'm flying out of. Then from there, I get on my flight. And my first flight, I think, is like 3 or 4 hours. And then my second flight is, I think, like 3 or 4 hours. So it's literally a full day of travel. But I slept really good last night. I got a good long night's sleep, which is kind of unheard of for me, especially here lately. So I decided earlier today, I am not going to sleep. I'm not going to bed, because if I try to go to sleep, I will probably just fall asleep right as I'm going to have to get up. So I'm just going to stay up and hope that I can relax enough and sleep on my flights. And if not, it's okay. It's nothing I haven't done before. I've been operating for like the last month on about 4 or 5, sometimes 6 hours of sleep. So it won't be too terrible. The destination is planet. Yeah. You don't care where I'm going. You just hope you'll be safe. I appreciate that. Is your layover long? No, it's like an hour and a half, and it's in Atlanta. So I just really, really hope I don't have to take the tram and go from one, what is it? I can't think of the word. Go from one part of the airport to the other. If you haven't ever flown into Atlanta, they have, and I mean other airports that are large have a tram too, but where you have to get on a tram to go to a certain part of the airport. I really hope I don't have to do that. I had to do that last time I traveled to my sister's when I flew 100% by myself, and I was so freaking nervous. So I hope I don't have to do that. But if I do, I'm not someone who's afraid to ask for directions. What I did the last time I flew by myself was, as soon as I got off the plane, I went to the flight attendant, or not flight attendant, the gate attendant. Excuse me, the gate attendants that are there when you off board your plane, and I just told them what my next flight was, and they told me where to go. So I'm not afraid to do that. And likely I probably will. The only thing that may prevent me from doing that is I'm flying into the same airport that my mom's flying into. And I believe she arrives before me. So, and she knows that airport really well because she's traveled so much. So when I get off the plane, I'm likely just to call her and say, hey, this is where I'm at. Where are you at? Because we'll be getting on the same flight, which is kind of cool that it worked out to where we'll be flying the last half together. And they made sure that because my mom called and bought the tickets. We tried to do them online, but the website was giving us too many issues. So she ended up calling, which ended up being better because on the flights that we share together, they have put it to where we're sitting next to each other. So that'll be cool. And I'm going to prefer this flight because it's not Southwest. I do not like how Southwest doesn't have assigned seating. I know that's probably a weird thing to not like, but that made me more nervous, not knowing where I should sit. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited to see my nieces. I don't know. I don't share a whole lot about them, but I haven't met my youngest niece. I haven't seen my sister in like a year and a half, 2 years. So I have not met my youngest niece. So I'm super excited for that. I'm also kind of nervous. From what everybody says, she has a really strong personality, which does not surprise me. So hopefully she likes me. So I've got a little bit of nerves about that. My oldest niece knows me pretty well. Not like phenomenally well, but we've been on trips together. My middle niece, which is my goddaughter, this is going to sound how little I go on vacation. I've only seen her twice. And one time was when she was a newborn. That was the last time I flew out to my sister's, and it's actually going to be her birthday while I'm there. So that's going to be exciting. I'm putting cuticle oil on, and apparently my nail beds are extremely dry because it just soaked it all up. Which is not surprising because I live in a very dry climate. Which where I'm going is not going to be a dry climate. So kind of exciting. Unlike most people, I'm excited about going to a more humid climate. This used to smell like cotton candy, and it doesn't. Where's my other one? Yeah, I think I'm going to have fun too. I'm excited. I think like most people who do traveling I prefer to drive when I travel, but I think most people who do traveling, like we always kind of hope that there's teleportation in a way. So you didn't have to go through. I don't know what happened to that cuticle oil. I wish I did. It was a nice cuticle oil. But this is the final product. I don't know if you guys you can kind of see the little bits of holographic. It just makes them a little bit more shiny. So I have to sneeze. That cuticle oil really smelled funny. But I appreciate you guys hanging out and chatting with me while I got these done. I am going to go finish packing because that needs to happen. And I do have one video that I filmed. Some people aren't going to like it. It's a makeup related video. I filmed a video packing the makeup I'm bringing with me on my trip. That's the only video I have filmed other than makeup content, and I have to edit those, and I'm not bringing my laptop. I've decided I'm going to leave this in my equipment here. I am going to probably go live a time or two while I'm out there, but I'm just going to utilize my phone, and I may film a video or two from my phone, just depending on what my days are like. Like I said, my sister and her kids are all very go, go, go busybodies. So I really don't know what all is in store for me. So I'm probably going to be exhausted when I come home. But I'm going to try my best. I just can't promise that there's going to be a whole lot of content. It's probably just going to be quick little live streams where we can just chat. And if something happens and I'm able to catch it, maybe I'll be able to film a video about it. If anything too crazy happens and you guys want me to talk about it or to cover something, feel free to DM me or email me. All of that information is in the description. But I am going to hop off of here. I hope you guys have a good day, evening, or night, wherever you guys are. And until next time, bye, guys.